बुलेटिन में सबसे पहले आपको बताएं, अमेरिकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने ईरानियों को वार्निंग दी है कि वो फौरी तौर पर तेहरान से निकल जाएं। अपने सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर जारी बयान में अमेरिकी सदर ने कहा कि इस तरह इंसानी जानों का ज़ाया होना शर्मनाक है। ट्रंप का कहना था कि उन्होंने ईरानियों से कहा था कि जौहरी मुआहदे पर दस्तखत कर दें।
और गुज़िश्ता रोज ये ड्रामाई सूरत हाल उस वक्त पेश आई जब सदर ट्रंप कनाडा में G7 इजलास में शरीक थे कि अचानक उन्होंने एक पैगाम भेजा और उस पैगाम में कहा कि ईरान एटमी हथियार हरगिज नहीं रख सकता। तेहरान में रहने वाले शहरियों से उन्होंने कहा कि फौरन तेहरान छोड़ दें और उसके बाद उन्होंने G7 इजलास छोड़कर कनाडा से वापस वाशिंगटन का रुख कर लिया। रवानगी से काबिल गुफ्तगू में अमेरिकी सदर ने कहा कि अमेरिका वापस आने की वजह ईरान इसराइल जंगबंदी से कहीं बड़ी है। ट्रंप ने कहा कि इस वक्त वो ईरान से बातचीत के मूड में नहीं है, जंगबंदी से बेहतर की तलाश में हैं। वो ईरान इसराइल तनाज़े की वजह के हकीकी खात्मे की तलाश में हैं। अमरीकी सदर ट्रंप का ये भी कहना था कि ईरानी रज़ाकाराना तौर पर जौहरी प्रोग्राम से दस्तबरदार हों और पेश किए गए मुआहदे पर दस्तखत करें। अमरीकी अखबार न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने अपनी रिपोर्ट में कहा है कि अमरीकी सदर ईरान का फर्दा और रिएक्टर तबाह करने के लिए जंग में शमूलियत पर गौर।
अमरीकी अखबार के मुताबिक ईरान के ज़ेरे ज़मीन फर्दो जौहरी रिएक्टर को अमरीका का सबसे बड़ा बंकर बस्टर बॉम्ब ही तबाह कर सकता है। 30,000 पाउंड वजनी बंकर बस्टर बॉम्ब JUB-57 बॉम्ब अमरीकी B-2 बमबार तैयारे से ही गिराया जा सकता है। JBU-57 बॉम्ब और B-2 बमबार तैयारे सिर्फ अमरीका ही के पास मौजूद हैं। तर्जुमान चीनी वजारत ख़ारजा ने कहा है कि अमेरिकी सदर ट्रंप ईरान इसराइल कशीदगी में जल्दी पर तेल का काम कर रहे हैं। तर्जुमान चीनी वजारत ख़ारजा ने कहा कि तेहरान खाली करने की वार्निंग पर चीनी वजारत ख़ारजा ने कहा कि शोलों को हवा देना है। ट्रंप का जल्दी पर तेल छिड़कना ईरान इसराइल लड़ाई मजीद फैलने और शिद्दत बढ़ाने का सबब बनेगा।
तर्जुमान चीनी वजारत ख़ारजा ने कहा कि तमाम फरीक़ैन कशीदगी को कम करने के लिए फौरी इक़दाम करें। इसराइल पर असर रसूख रखने वाले ममालिक बिलखुसूस अपनी जिम्मेदारियाँ अदा करें। चीनी सदर शी जिनपिंग के सरकारी सोशल मीडिया कमेंट्री अकाउंट से ये पैगाम जारी हुआ है कि दुनिया अमेरिका के बगैर भी आगे बढ़ सकती है। अगर अमेरिका दुनिया का एहतराम खो बैठा तो वही सबक सीखेगा जो हर ज़वाल पजीर सल्तनत ने बहुत देर से सीखा।
उन्होंने कहा कि दुनिया किसी के लिए नहीं रुकती, हमेशा आगे बढ़ती रहती है।
चीनी सदर जी जिनपिंग के सोशल मीडिया कमेंट्री अकाउंट पर तहरीर है कि 100 साल पहले बरतानवी सल्तनत आलमी तिजारत पर छाई हुई थी और दुनिया की 20% दौलत उसके पास थी। लोग समझते थे उसका सूरज कभी नहीं ढलेगा। 200 साल पहले फ्रांस यूरोप के उफक पर छाया हुआ था। उसकी अफवाद से लोग डरते थे। उसकी सकाफत काबिल रश्क थी। नेपोलियन ने खुद को लाजवाल करार दिया था। 400 साल पहले हस्पानवी तख्तो ताज मनीला से मेक्सिको तक हुकूमत कर रहा था। उसके खजाने चांदी और रेशम से भरे होते थे। हस्पानवी बादशाह समझते थे कि उनकी अजमत हमेशा बाकी रहेगी। हर सल्तनत ने खुद को नागुज़ीर समझा, लेकिन हर एक का सूरज गुरूब हुआ। ताकत कमजोर पड़ जाती है, असरो रसूख बदल जाता है और कानूनी हैसियत उसी लम्हे दम तोड़ देती है जब उसे हासिल करने के बजाय खुद पर फर्ज कर लिया जाए। अगर अमेरिका दुनिया का एहतराम खो बैठा तो वही सबक सीखेगा जो हर ज़वाल पजीर सल्तनत ने बहुत देर से सीखा कि दुनिया किसी के लिए नहीं रुकती, हमेशा आगे बढ़ती रहती है।
और कतर की जानिब से ईरान की जौहरी और तेल तंसीबात पर इसराइली हमलों की मजम्मत की गई है।
तर्जुमान कतरी वजारत ख़ारजा ने कहा कि ईरान की जौहरी तेल तंसीबात पर इसराइली हमले की मजम्मत करते हैं। मजीद उन्होंने क्या कहा, आपको सुनवाते हैं।
Obviously, if there were messages, I would not disclose them to you, Callum, and international media today, as we are trying to find a way out of this. But what I can confirm is that we have been making all the possible communication between all the parties regionally and abroad. These talks between us have been around finding a way out of the rabbit hole when it comes to this escalation. We are talking here about an escalation that could have ramifications not only on regional security but on international energy security and security as a whole for the whole world, and therefore we need to work together towards a way out of this, and we have been engaging daily with our partners in the US around finding a way out of this. We have been hearing some positive statements when it comes to the commitment to the diplomatic measures, and hopefully we can get back to them as soon as possible. As I said, there was a positive trajectory in the talks previous to these attacks, and we are hoping that we can build on it on the future to reach an agreement that would be a sustainable agreement for the region when it comes to security as a whole. I think you had a second question, Callum. I think I missed it. Okay.
If I could then just, as I still have the mic, I have. You mentioned this earlier, but when you were talking to my colleagues in Arabic, but there were the strikes on the South Pars oil field, which Qatar shared on facilities on the.
है कि 2 रोज कबल इसराइल की जानिब से साउथ पार्स और गैस फील्ड पर हमला किया गया था.
अमेरिकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप इस वक्त मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं.
Sounds like it. I'll have to look at it. Are you going to give on the Middle East? What changed about that convinced you to sign on to the G7 US statement? Well, I haven't seen the statement yet, but I authorized them to say certain things. I don't know whether or not they said it correctly, but I think they probably did. We had a good meeting. I think that Canadian representatives were very good. He did a very good job.
How are the
Carney did a very good job.
How was your meeting with him? How were the trade talks looking with the Canadian?
I think it was good. I think we had a lot of good talks with a lot of people.
You said he's looking for something more complex. Can you tell me what you mean by that?
Well, they get too complex in the deals and they never get done. And we need speed. You know, we're dealing with really, if you think about it, probably 175 countries. And most of them are going to just be sent a letter saying, it'll be an honor to trade with you, and here's what you're going to have to pay to do it. We're making a lot of money. You know, we took in $88 billion in tariffs. And I was called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying, we don't understand, the numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He says, well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column. And it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to be.
You've got other tariffs coming down the pipe here.
I have a lot of them, yeah.
What's the timing on those things like lumber, copper, pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah, we're going to be doing pharmaceuticals very soon. That's going to bring all the companies back into America.
All of them are focusing on...
It's going to bring most of them back in, at least partially back in. You know, they left us because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We should have never lost our car business. We lost 52% of our car business over the years. Should have never lost it. All they had to do is say, if you make a car, you're going to leave us, you're going to make a car, you're going to pay a 25-30% tariff, and they would have never left. Nobody said that to anybody until I came along.
Homeland Security is saying that ICE is going to start enforcing in hotels and farms again. Is that a change of course from last week?
We're going to look everywhere, but I think the biggest problem is the inner cities. We're looking everywhere. Look, what they let into this country, what Biden let in, that we're allowed to, I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing, frankly, but whoever worked for him, what they let into this country, we're never going to forget it. They let prisoners in, they let gang members in, drug dealers in, the mentally insane into our country. No, we're going to get them out. There are far more in the inner cities, Democrat-run cities, sadly. I mean, I'm just giving you, there's far more in there than you have on a farm or someplace.
And no one's getting exemptions anymore. Everyone is.
Well, everyone's being looked at, but the bigger problem is the cities right now. That's very, and that tends to be where the really bad ones are. The murderers, you know, they've let in 11,888 murderers, people that killed people. Biden allowed that to happen. So the Democrats allowed it to happen. Biden didn't know he was even around.
Question on your Senate confirmations. With all the military actions, there are only 3 of your 6 sub-cabinet members at the Defense Department.
I'd like to see the nominations go faster. The Democrats hold up our nominations.
Are you going to talk to Senator
Yeah, I will.
about that?
John Thune's doing a very good job. You know, I've got a lot of people in, but he's doing a very good job. The Democrats, if we had George Washington up for approval, the Democrats would take maximum time, every hour, every minute, to delay him as long as possible. If we had a combination of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, they would go max, it's called max time.
Mr. President, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said, I think they were very close to having.
I got one on. You were at this beautiful scene for the meeting, said a lot about acquiring Canada as a state. Did anybody talk to you about that? And where
I
are
think
you
it's a
now?
much better deal from Canada, but it's up to them. They're going to have to pay a lot of tariffs and things. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for the dome, for the Iron Dome. They want to be a part of it.
Did you talk
We
about
may
that?
make a separate deal on that, by the way.
On the dome?
We discussed that, yeah, with the dome. That may
Splitting
be a
it up.
separate deal. They want to be at 71 billion. They're going to pay.
There could be a dome thing separate from the
They'll
tariff.
be in the dome. Yeah, they'll be under the dome.
And were you open to negotiating with the Iranians right now, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. I've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. Their cities have been blown to pieces. They've lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate.
Do you think you'll be in the Situation Room tomorrow at any point?
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, girl, while you're sleeping. Goodbye,
What about
everybody.
why did you tell people to evacuate Tehran? You know, you posted
Yeah,
evacuate.
I think it's safer.
Are you
On
going to...
There's a
Minnesota,
lot of bad things happening. No, I think it's safer for them to evacuate.
on Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. Look, he appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him, say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
On the big beautiful bill, sir, or can you talk about what the
We're
Senate...
doing well with the big,
How's it looking in the Senate? They
great,
proposed some
big,
changes.
beautiful bill.
Are you okay with their changes?
Here so far it's going well.
Are you going to spend...
Look, if it doesn't get approved, 68% tax increase, and I think the Democrats would have to, they'd be, because we won't get Democrat support. Think of it, we're giving the biggest tax cut in history. Instead, you have the biggest tax increase in history, 68%.
Are you going to extend the TikTok deadline again?
Probably, yeah. Probably have to get China approval. I think we're
You
getting.
have the legal basis.
I think President Xi will ultimately approve.
And you have the legal basis to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Two more on Iran. Is there any sign that North Korea is getting more involved in helping Iran, or is Russia getting more involved with
I
military?
haven't seen it. I don't think anybody wants to get involved. It's a mess.
What about American citizens, U.S. citizens who are trying to leave the area with the airport shut down, Ben Gurion shut
We're
down?
doing the best we can with it. We're working on that. We're doing the best we can. Thank you, everybody, very much. Have a good time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Karen.
अमरीकी सदर ट्रंप अपने तैयारी एयरफोर्स वन में सहाफ़ियों से गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे। अब से कुछ देर पहले की गुफ्तगू आपने मुलाहिज़ा की। अमरीकी सदर की जानिब से इस गुफ्तगू में कहा गया कि वो ईरान के साथ बातचीत के मूड में नहीं है। सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप कनाडा से अमरीका वापस आ रहे थे जब उन्होंने ये गुफ्तगू की सहाफ़ियों से, और इस वक्त सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप कनाडा से वापस अमेरिका पहुँच चुके हैं।